Times CNN noted that federal officials were investigating Chinese land purchases near critical infrastructure, and there were concerns that the regime was trying to install listening devices near U.S. military bases and government facilities.
Earlier, I spoke with South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who is enacting bold measures to counter the threat of the Chinese Communist Party and also its allies. Noem recently signed an executive order that prohibits the Chinese Communist Party, Russia, North Korea, and Iran from purchasing farmland or property near military bases. Hey, Governor Kristi Noem, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
Now, you just signed Executive Order 2023-02, which specifically prohibits the Chinese Communist Party from purchasing agricultural land property near military bases in the U.S. I know there were some headlines on this, and we thought something was being done about it. Why do you think this executive order is necessary with this?
Well, so if you remember last year, we had an incident up in North Dakota, our neighbors to the north, where the Chinese Communist Party and foreign entities were buying up ag land. And they were buying ag land near military installations, which they were saying was for a different purpose, but we recognize the real national security threat we have. And my executive order specifically bans telecommunications companies from doing business with South Dakota and our state government, and also us having state contracts with foreign entities. It's specifically targeted towards countries that hate us. And listen, these are evil governments that want to undermine the United States of America and want to take away our freedoms and liberties. So my job as governor is to protect the people of South Dakota. This executive order builds the momentum for preventing people from doing business with the state of South Dakota that hate us. And then also we're bringing legislation that would ban them from being able to buy our ag land and generate the kind of threat that we saw from our neighbors to the north.
Well, you know, not everyone's going to call the Chinese Communist Party evil on the surface, although, frankly, look at their genocidal practices. I think it's an accurate term. I'm just being honest. But a lot of people won't say that outright. You've taken a very strong stance here. You're calling the Chinese Communist Party an evil regime. Why do you say that?
Well, we all know they're bad actors for generations. They've been building up their military. They've been stealing our intellectual property, manipulating their currency to undermine the United States of America. They're communists who have horrific, human rights activities going on, or lack of human rights in their country. And we've seen them buying up our food supply chains as well. You know, I've talked for 15, 20 years that I've been working on. Well, this is about our kids. You know, at the end of the day, we have been a generation that has lived the benefits of the United States of America.
He's introducing a bill that would ban the Chinese company-owned app altogether. In a tweet on Tuesday, Hawley said China is invading Americans' lives. TikTok has faced major criticism over national security concerns and the ability to manipulate content. Well, being late to your Lyft ride is going to cost you. A per-minute fee will start to add up for passengers who are more than 2 minutes late to their location. For Lux Black and Lux Black XL users, the fee starts at 5 minutes. Lyft says the rate will vary by location, and additional fees may be applied based on how busy things are. The company says users with disabilities can apply for a waiver for the wait time fees.
Super Bowl 57 is found.
His father tried CPR, the paramedics tried naloxone, but it was too late. Alex had taken a pill he believed to be Oxycontin. Turned out that it was a counterfeit pill made with fentanyl. That fake pill had enough fentanyl in it to kill 4 people. We only had him 14 years.
And now there appears to be a pattern emerging for some of these accidental fentanyl poisonings. Often the purchaser is a teenager, and usually the teen had no intention of buying fentanyl in particular. They're usually looking for something recreational. And more often than not, the transaction happens on Snapchat. Attorney Carrie Goldberg filed a lawsuit against Snap's parent company, Snap, back in October. She represents 9 families, 8 of whom had children who passed away due to fentanyl overdoses. Goldberg says Snap's app design makes it rife with dangerous drug deals. She gives us a number of reasons as to why this is.
Number 1, Snap's foundational product feature is disappearing messages, which draws in both minors interested in evading parental oversight, as well as drug dealers interested in dealing to vulnerable minors without detection. Number 2, Snap is the only social media product that markets to children while also encouraging anonymity. Snap's geolocating feature makes child users findable to dealers passing through their locality. It's called Snap Maps. The self-destructing texts, the expiring posts, and the secure data vault enable dealers to complete transactions without a trace.
These design features are also a headache for law enforcement. It's very hard for law enforcement to get data from these tech companies. Sheriff John Knowles says he searches over 200 cell phones a year, and he can't access 50% of them. He says there's a tremendous amount of evidence on phones and social media accounts he can't get access to.
They pride themselves on the fact that they are not storing data. That's how they advertise themselves to users, is we're not going to store the data, and if police come looking for it, we will not provide the data. And frequently, we are told when we serve processes to these providers is the information is stored on servers that is not in the United States. Therefore, your subpoena, your warrant has no standing.
Here's the thing, though. Snap and other platforms are completely free of liability. The only thing it has to do is respond to subpoenas, but even then, many accuse Snap of being slow to respond to these subpoenas, if at all. Snap says it's determined to remove illegal drug sales from its platform. It says it's working with law enforcement and that it's investing in proactive detection. Also added educational features. Every time someone searches using drug-related words, these educational materials will pop up to teach about the dangers of drug use. We've reached out to Snap for comment, but it didn't respond before airtime. During the House roundtable, one key...
The point, how can you, as a constituent within the state or just as a citizen of this country, not be like, yeah, within my own state, I think it would be good if we followed the money and knew what was happening at the university level because they're receiving funding from me and you, the taxpayer. And this should be happening, obviously, with our public school system as well. And there are parents who
let's not go that far.
Let's not go to the K-12 system. But there are parents hopefully waking up. I think 2022, and this is my prediction here as we move forward, 2022 parents started to pay attention. 2023, they are going to at least be more, they're going to push forward with the higher ups, not just speaking out in front of the school board, but they are going to put a lot more pressure on those who make the actual decisions, like a Ron DeSantis. Ron, he's taken actual initiative in holding these universities accountable. He didn't need the parents to do that. He's actually what we would call a leader. So he actually, yes, I know, I understand.
What does that word mean again?
Leader.
So we also have a video on this too, don't we?
Oh, yes. So let's watch that.
We rank #1 in education freedom, and we rank #1 in parental involvement in education. Florida also ranks #1 in public higher education. This is a record we can all be proud of.
Now, that's awesome for Florida, and lucky you if you live in Florida. But the sad truth is, it shouldn't be that it shouldn't be that easy for them to get #1, but because everyone is so bad, they get to be #1 in everything, if that makes sense. Because all it takes is for one man, like Ron DeSantis, to open his eyes and be like, hey, legislature, hey, local school boards, hey, universities, hey, all of it, do your job. Yeah. And he's actually putting a little pressure on them.
Yeah, I think
that's all it takes.
Unfortunately, many states are going to start demanding they grade on a curve.
Yes.
Florida, Anglican, then you've got priest. So people usually see these words and they go, okay, spiritual leader, right? We can certainly look up to, but no, they're making a huge difference, normalizing this for children. Be careful, friends, because they are, and they're grooming.
Okay, well, the NGO. Up next, we have a Japanese man who likes that song. He's garnered quite a following on YouTube because he wants to live his life as a collie, like the dog. He's even invested more than $15,000 into his suit. That makes him look like a BINGO. Yep, that's next.
If you have a smartphone, tablet, Roku, or Apple TV, consider weaponized applications to be used against you.
I spoke with counterintelligence expert Casey Fleming on the subject.
The Chinese apps that are put on our children's phones are all meant to be very ubiquitous, and they follow the same addictive type of measure, and it makes it fun and so on. TikTok followed Musical.ly. Musical.ly was a music app that was put on phones, and it was spread far and wide very quickly, and then TikTok was just built on top of that.
What are these apps doing differently that's making them so popular?
They're a little bit more aggressive or assertive with the apps, in that if you're looking at something and viewing something, they'll be able to push a notification to you. Are you still interested in this? And if you don't respond in a period of time, they may send you a text.
The popular shopping app Temu has jumped into the #1 spot in just 5 months of allowing users to team up with each other for group discounts. Temu, along with Shein, have the advantage of offering cheap items made with cheap labor with lots of sales and discounts. And they use the same addictive endless scroll browsing found on TikTok and other popular social media apps. Retail shopping expert Janelle Alvarado filled me in on why people love these shopping apps.
The app Shein, that one is doing so well right now, not only because it has a model where it's consumer to manufacturer, so you're really getting product from the supplier, so then you don't have to pay that additional retail cost where you would have to pay if you had to purchase at a retail store.
But some nations are taking a closer look at potential risks.
And if you look at maybe something parallel, look at other countries. So it's not just a U.S. issue against Chinese companies. Look at what happened with India. India had about 200 million TikTok users. They banned it completely. Why? Because of the same problems. They saw all of this mass data collection, and they got nervous, and they said, that's it, no more.
Ultimately, the
payments. Officials decided to go ahead with the demolition anyway. For context, in China, the Chinese Communist Party is the sole owner of all land, meaning people and businesses can only purchase the rights to use plots of land for a certain number of years, rather than buying the land itself. Police quickly scrubbed related videos of the incident from Chinese social media. Since 2014, officials in Zhejiang province have reportedly demolished crosses and religious symbols in more than 1,000 churches. That policy has since expanded to other regions. Priests have even faced jail time for their beliefs.